Welcome back. We're back. Two fans, one Paul. Self-David Quist, little co-host KB Kirk Brown. Post-Christmas. Merry Christmas. It's the 29th. This is the weirdest time of the year. This week is not real. Let's be honest, KB. Bowl Mania is in. It's moving along. It's pretty competitive. KB's got me by a couple games. Some guy is killing it. Trevor, I think. Obviously, we'll get more down the road, but we're looking forward to talking about these quarterfinal games, some Michigan news, the Michigan game, and we'll jump in momentarily. Let's start with the KB, see how his Christmas was, and then we'll go to the Michigan news/game.
Yeah, really good Christmas. Excited. I have some awesome cloth Michigan shorts that I got for Christmas, which I was super hype about. Overall super excited. Hope everyone had a great holiday season, great Christmas season if that's what you celebrate. But yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff has happened since we last spoke. We talked before the Christmas. We talked and covered all the games, and now we got games this weekend over the New Year's, the Rose Bowl and all those terrific bowl games. So let's break it down. For Michigan, Whittingham ended up being the coach, 66 years old, signed a 5-year deal, it sounds like. He had stepped down at Utah. Sounds like it was kind of a mutual agreement. He was there for a really long time.
21 years.
He was there for a really long time. Sounds like there was a coach in waiting there, the defensive coordinator. Sounds like the defensive coordinator was maybe looking at other jobs if he didn't get his opportunity, and it's kind of like hey, he's been under your wing for long enough. Maybe it's time for him to kind of come along and be the head coach. So Michigan was put in a horrible spot. I mean, not many times you have to deal with your coach being too horny. Not
the first time here, KB.
Not the first time in the state of Michigan, surely not. But just the timing of it. It was at the end of the season. There weren't many weeks to kind of go through. You had to immediately get some stability, and you found a well-tenured head coach that's well-respected, that is going to be no nonsense, going to kind of be able to put some clean eyes on the place. He's not a Michigan guy. He's not from the program, not a part of the program, which I think is a good thing, kind of with everything that's been happening there. So now the negatives is he's old. I mean, he's 66. He's in the, for sure in the back end of his career. His team's offenses haven't been great. He's had a bunch of offensive coordinators through his tenure. If there's one, complaint about him, he's a defensive head coach, and his offenses haven't been well known to throw the ball and be aggressive. He plays a very, very conservative style of football. How much will that adjust being at Michigan? How much will that adjust, all things going forward? So that's one concern, or that's two concerns, and probably the last concern is he's not from the Midwest, and
that didn't work out for us.
Difficult. We've seen how difficult that adjustment is for people that don't grow up with the rivalries, that don't grow up with the aspects of the football, that they maybe don't take it as seriously, or they don't understand kind of the heatedness of the rivalries. He doesn't really have recruiting ties to the areas. Now, I do know that he's planning on bringing some guys. I'm sure some West Coast guys. I do know that he's planning on retaining some of the coaches from the area, from the Midwest, which I think is something that John Smith didn't do very well, as he kind of brought all of his new guys in, and I feel like there wasn't any ties locally to recruiting, which I think, and I think he's retaining like 4 or 5, so hopefully that works out for him. But who knows? I think that with where we were at, this is definitely the best case scenario. The Dillingham. He was never offered the job. Probably agents talking back and forth. Maybe an AD and agent, and then the agent's job is to get their coach money. So the head coaching job opens, and the AD says, he's probably on the list, and he's interested in any this or that. And then the agent runs to the people in the media that his agency is also an agent of, and dishes them. Oh, they're looking to give them story, and then Dillingham gets a huge extension. That's how these things go, right? That's how. Our good friend over at Penn State, James Franklin, that's why his contract was so huge and so long, and he would just always threaten, his agent would always threaten to leave for different jobs. So not that surprised, and that's their right. I'm not complaining about it, but he was never offered the job, so it's not like he got rejected, which is kind of what it sounds like happened with Penn, where they got rejected by a bunch of people, more so than they weren't offered the job. So glass half full. You're getting a really successful head coach, one of the most successful head coaches in the program's history. Took over after Urban, offensive-minded guy. He's bringing some really talented coaches along with him. BYU's defensive coordinator is going to be moving along with him, who was really, really good this year, but another West Coast guy, Mountain West guy, if you will. So who knows? I mean, you have worse places that you could have failed to with this coaching search. And this isn't a good job Ward manual, because I know he wasn't a part of it. They hired an outside firm for the coaching hire. So hopefully it works out. Cautiously optimistic. They have a really, really difficult schedule next year. Who knows what the portal exodus looks like. So until we kind of know what the players look like, until we know what the staff looks like, it's kind of up in the air.
Yeah, I think it's a good coaching hire. I don't know if it's a fit for Michigan. You kind of went over that. He's not a Michigan guy, no ties to the Midwest. That didn't work out for us, right? But it could work out for you guys. I think he's a great coach. We both now have defensive-minded coaches that have had terrible offenses. So I guess we'll see if we have another 12-10 kind of game that we've had before in the past. Kind of curious to see how seriously he takes the Michigan State game, the Ohio State game. Obviously, the presser, he had a kind of a line there where he's like, yeah, I kind of know now. But it doesn't, I don't think Smith really understood the Michigan State game until he was in it, and then it was too late. So there's just stuff like that, too, that, how big's the BYU-Utah game? I don't really...
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, it's huge. But I think one of the positive ties is he was really close friends with Urban. Because obviously he was coaching under him there, and then he got promoted to the job, was there for 21 years at Utah. So he could definitely feel some of that from Urban, I'm sure, is the intensity of it. But it'll be interesting. And I think the best thing and the best indication is I've only heard good things on social media from Utah fans. Everyone's like, dude, you guys are we wish he was still here, kind of. Maybe he didn't, ever push the team to national championship levels, but he was always competing. And they were like, you got a great coach, you got a great guy, good luck to him. And I think anytime a coach moves and that's the reaction of the fan base, you have to at least feel good about that, right? And I know this is coping 101. Michigan was in the national championship game and won it a couple years ago. They were in the playoffs 3 straight years, and we just had an interim coach that was granted the position by way of who the previous head coach was, and he fucking blew that up in his face, if you will, or someone else's, depending on the context. And sorry, I just couldn't help myself, Quist.
No, fair.
I mean, who knows? Who knows? It could be a horrible season next year. They have to face 6 teams that are currently in the 4 teams that were in the playoff last year, 5 teams that were in the playoff last year.
Bryce leave. And I do know, I think Whittingham probably left, probably the guy in the wings, but I know that Utah is one of the first teams to go all private equity, which is very interesting. And private equity seems to ruin things, as we've all seen in this lovely world. So keep an eye out on Utah and see how that goes. But I think they'll be I think it's I said in the group chat with the guys, I think it's a good coaching hire. I don't still know if it's a good fit. And obviously we'll see that play out because, you said everything the West Coast stuff, and seems like he's retaining more guys, which is smart. But we'll see who leaves and what happens over the next couple of years. And obviously the coaching carousel can be crazy and wild, as we've seen this year and in years before in the past. So you never know what could happen. And this one kind of fell in your lap. I don't, he kind of said he was still out there when he was got rid of the Utah job, and obviously Michigan was super late to the coaching carousel because of the situation, but it seemed like it worked out. I saw one guy tried to get out of his sign, he signed, he's trying to get out of that. So that's going to happen too, but we'll see what this exodus looks like.
3 players that that got asked for a release. One was a top 100 receiver, I believe.
One flipped an offensive day of too.
Yeah, an offensive lineman, and then one other player, I can't remember who it was. But, I mean, I think, all things considered, one of the guys that I hope is retaining, and we can jump into the Michigan game, Quiz, because that's the first game on our site to cover. Biff Poggi's the interim head coach. I do hope that they retain this guy. There's a lot of good, a lot of bad, but one of the things that I think of and that I most appreciate is Michigan only has 3 or 4 people sitting out, it sounds like. I know there was some rumors on that there was a podcast released that said that we might have 25 to 30 guys not show up, and I think he was talking about in the portal. We'll see. I mean, maybe they come out the 31st and they have 10 guys on the field and we're like, who is this 6th-string walk-on? I don't know. Right? We don't know what's going to play out, but everyone made the trip, it looks like. Everyone's down there. Underwood's there, Marsh is there, so maybe the day of the game they all get incentivized to sit out. I don't know how that will look, but and there could be a portal exodus on the back end, obviously, but it's just the fact that it's held together at all. And people are like, well, they can't enter the portal. Bullshit. People have entered the portal already when the coaches haven't left. Like, we've seen people say, hey, I'm going to be in the portal. Hey, I'm going to be in the portal. Hey, I'm going to be in the portal. So that isn't real. You can announce you're in the portal whenever. It's just you can't enter it officially and then sign with a new team until the dates are announced.
Unless you're Riley
Your AD
Leonard.
and Yeah. Well, again, you can't just he entered the portal and was already signed like within an hour. So that was legal, right?
Sure.
All that happened on the back
No
end,
tampering.
he
No
wasn't in the
tampering.
room. But no, so we'll see how that is. But Michigan is playing Texas. Texas does have 23 players out.
Oh, wow.
It sounds like in the transfer portal. How many of those are starters? How many of those are backups? We don't know. It is interesting. 2 number 1 QBs in the country. Michigan got both Oklahoma and Texas this year. They had Texas last year. They get Oklahoma next year, and then they get Texas the year after that. So a heavy dose of Oklahoma and Texas over the last 4 years. Michigan will play Texas at least 3 times over the last 4 years, or the next 4 years. So pretty interesting. I'm going to take Texas in this game. Michigan has too much going on. I do expect them to come out fight, but I just don't know with some of the guys that are out. Barham's out, Moore's out, and I believe Giovanni El Hadi is out. And those were all like the key senior leaders that put up a bunch of tape, and they just aren't going to be playing. So obviously Ernest Hausman is still out away from the team on unrelated illness. So they're going to be pretty thin.
He found God.
I don't know, and I haven't heard anything. I'm not deep in the message or rumor mills, but sounds like he had a pretty intense situation or very big revelation. Maybe he found out his coach was cheating and couldn't handle it. I don't know. It is a very intense thing. Sounds like it's a personal matter, and a lot of the media is staying quiet about it. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's like he did something bad or what, and I don't want to speculate too much on it. So I'm just going to give him my well wishes. He played a hell of a career at Michigan. If he ends up leaving and never playing another game at Michigan, it is okay. I hope he finds his focus and everything works out for him, because he was really well conversated in the media, and he was really, really nice for all things considered. So, but yeah, I mean, this is a great opportunity. Hopefully not for players to put on tape to go leave, in a couple days, but hopefully to start building blocks together, putting together great individual reps, and be in a great position for next year to develop and lead what will again be a pretty young team that is going to be growing and with a really difficult schedule. But I'm going to take Texas in this game straight up or with the 7 points. I think this is going to be a 14-point victory or so. I think Arch Manning, this offense, after having more time to marinate and cook, even though I don't think he played really great all year, he definitely turned on in the second half. And this defense has had some pretty gaping holes, all things considered, and they're going to be out their best players. So Arch is going to, I think, have plenty of time to sit back there and scan the field and throw, and I think it's going to be a long day for a young Michigan team. But I was wrong about last year's bowl game, too, when they shocked everyone.
Yeah, so I was going to say, I want to pick Texas here too, KB, but I was just thinking about it last year where Bama just played like absolute dog shit. And Michigan won. But I'm going to go with Texas, too. I just think everything you said makes a lot of sense. These bowl games are getting weird with how many guys are sitting out. I still think this, the grand oso of the Pop-Tart Bowl is still, the funnest thing ever. And every bowl needs to, just lean into that now, because players aren't playing, coaches are leaving left and right. Just make it, spectacle. Make it fun. The Pop-Tart Bowl might be the funnest bowl now, KB, and I'm glad we have that one. So I just had to shout that out. But, I know they probably do something cool for the Cheez-It Bowl here, too.
I got to interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
Real quick, because that's a great point. I saw Bad Boy Mowers Classic had grass clippings in the Gatorade bucket to dump on the head coach after they won. So I think that the brand and the partners that, back in the day, there were just bowl games, and they didn't need 7,000 sponsors and broadcast viewership rights and everything, right? They could just be bowl games. We had way less, obviously, too, but it became a huge market, huge media opportunity for people to make money. So that's obviously why bowl games, right? Follow the money. It's not anything unique. But brands that actually embrace the bowl, that find the bowl and incorporate themselves and make it not just a football game. It kind of
It's
feels more like
spectacle.
a minor league game, almost.
Yeah.
Like a Whitecaps or the Griffins or something smaller that's more intimate. That's like, hey, we know the stands might not be packed, but let's have fun. Let's make this enjoyable. And I think that we've seen that over the course of the last couple of years, especially transition with the Pop-Tart Bowl. They've made it terrific, and it's the best. Whoever their marketing guy that came up with this. Hopefully it wasn't an outside firm. Hopefully that guy's sitting in just a pool, drinking pina coladas, just raking in the dough, man, because he deserves it. This is absolutely awesome.
Yeah, I know the Cheez-It Bowl probably do something with Cheez-Its, obviously. I don't know if Duke's Mayo, that one was really pushing your face as well. So I'm glad it's more spectacle because with everything else going on with players leaving in the portal and coaches, like I said, it just makes it more fun. And we all kind of look forward now to the Pop-Tart Bowl with the toaster with the big Pop-Tarts, and then obviously the trophy itself is a toaster with small Pop-Tarts. So just got to shout that out. But yeah, keep an eye out on the Cheez-It Bowl. Hopefully they do something unique with Cheez-Its, but that's going to be New Year's Eve at 3 o'clock. Any other thoughts, KB, as we both take the horns here and we want to jump into the playoff games?
I mean, I think this is a huge opportunity for Bryce to show some of his development, especially at the end of the year. He did not finish the season well. I think this would be a really cool opportunity to see what the work he's been able to put in. His OC left, and Moore is no longer handcuffing them, so hopefully we see a very wild, open, attacking offense that can push the ball downfield, and we see opportunities for him, however that may be, because obviously, if everything goes right and he's back next year, could be a springboard for him having a really good sophomore year.
Fair enough. And before we go to the quarterfinal games, KB, let's do Michigan State quick. We hired a quarterback coach. Offensive staff's pretty much done. And in good news, Jordan Hall is staying. He's pretty much our leader on on defense, number 5. So just gotta shout him out. He's back. And haven't seen a lot of guys declare to a team like Nick Marsh. He's still in the portal. He might not be gone. But we'll see. But he's probably gone. But just wanted to shout that out.
They can't sign anywhere until January, Quist.
Even if what about the window? I thought they could still. They can't sign per se.
You can enter. You can officially enter,
but you
and
can't
your
sign
agents
into
can
the
talk.
Window. Okay.
And you can't sign into the window.
Which starts January 2nd,
5th or 6th, yeah, something like that.
We can look it up. Anyway, that's good news for State. Since that's our podcast, well, let's jump to the quarterfinal games. KB, first game. New Year's Eve, 7:30 on ESPN. It's the Cotton Bowl Classic. Miami is playing against Ohio State. Obviously, Ohio State was on the bye week. We're going to go straight up picks, but the spread is minus 9.5 in favor of Ohio State. I think the Buckeyes are too much here. Very interesting to see how games play out this year compared to last year. A lot of teams, I think all the teams last year, KB, that had the bye loss, if I'm not right. But also, obviously, the favorites it was kind of weird last year with the seeding. But I think Ohio State's really good. An extra week to prepare. Extra week to get healthy. I do think playing back-to-back weeks also is a positive because you're kind of staying warm in that in that routine per se. But I just think OSU's too much. Carson Beck hasn't looked too great, but Miami's got talent and they got a lot of money thrown at this team. So hopefully they make it close. But I think OSU's saying Jeremiah Smith might go off after not getting the. I know he didn't get the Blitnikoff because it really wasn't his to win this year. But give me the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I mean, you said it pretty well there. And Quist, it does open. The portal does open the second. So be sure to turn on right. And that's obviously once you enter the portal, you have that window, and then your agent and you can start talking to teams. But they can't officially sign anywhere, I believe, until the second, which is the reason for the portal. So everything kind of happens during that time frame. Anyway, so OSU, Miami, I think OSU is the better team here. I don't think anyone would argue that. I think they have the edge at receiver, although Malachi Toney has had a really tremendous true freshman season. Mm-hmm. I think OSU has a significantly better defense than A&M does. I've seen A&M's defense get gashed at times this year. I've never seen OSU's. And due to the pass rush and stuff, I think that's where I'd slightly lean, but I don't think Miami's going to have enough offense to really compete in this game. Due to OSU's really, really competent defense, I think Miami's defense is going to put a lot of pressure on Say, and I don't think that Sayan has faced a defensive front as good as this since probably Indiana, and he struggled at times in that game. He didn't struggle overall. He just had moments where he didn't look as accurate as he had all season. There was obviously the pick, too. He played really well in that game, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of people want to blow that up and be like, blah, 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 that's why he's... Anyway, I just think that there's going to be some moments where this game is close, but I think by the time the second half comes around, this Miami offense is just not going to be able to do anything. I'm expecting a large OSU victory. Now, you did bring up a great point from last year. Yes, all the teams that played the game, but like you said again, is how much is the impact going to be, right? Because last year all the favorites won, but a lot of them blew out the spread because they had played the week before. So are these going to be close to the spread? Like Oregon, Ohio State, we watched them play already in the season, and one had a much longer time off, one had already played a game, and it looked like two different teams were on the field. How slow are people going to be coming out of the turnstiles? We saw it last year with the Lions. They came off with a bye, had 6 picks, after a bye week, after a team played. So it's just, I'm not saying that this is end all be all, but we're just getting more information as these buys continue to play out. How does this all look? I'm taking OSU, though. I think that they're the better team. I think they're the more consistent team. But Miami has that dog in them at times where they can just make plays back to back to back. And now the problem is, this is the problem, Beck turns the ball over too much. And I think that's going to be the end all be all of this game. I think OSU is going to get a couple short fields. It's going to be 14-3, 14-0, and there's just going to be too much of a hill to climb with how good this defense is, and they're just going to be able to coast to victory, which I think they easily get to -9.5, either with this red or I'd pick them.
Both going the Buckeyes. Okay, next one, KB, the Capital One Orange Bowl, Oregon Ducks, Texas Tech noon, on ESPN, of course, because that's the deal here. Let's throw it to you for your first thoughts and pick here.
Yeah, I mean, Oregon was in this position last year. They lost this game. Texas Tech is coming off the bye. How does that impact them? I have to say that every time just because it is important. Having that much time off and not getting a get-back game, how's that going to be influential? But I perceive this as kind of a defensive battle, as we've kind of seen the tide turn. 4 or 5 years ago, we saw offenses absolutely dominating teams, and this year I feel like we've seen defenses step up a bit more, consistently. Texas Tech has a fantastic defense, and they've been able to really pressure QBs, really stop the run. That front seven is maybe the best in the country. I'm taking Texas Tech in this game. Now, they're not the favorite. You're getting 2.5 points. I just think that this team is in a position where that they're riding high. They've done so many good things, and when the time comes, can you run the ball and play defense? And I think they can. Now, Oregon has been really good at running the ball this year, but I feel like they've been able to run the ball against bad teams. They haven't, good teams where they aren't as outmanned. Like you think of Indiana's game, like they just haven't been able to run the ball. Wisconsin, who has a really, really good run defense, they haven't been able to run the ball against those good defenses, and Texas Tech is certainly one of them. So I think with more of the game plan being on Dante Moore's shoulder, more of the emphasis on Dante Moore having to lead this team, having to put up points, I don't think that he's going to be able to come up and rise to the occasion. I expect a couple turnovers and Tech to slowly gain a lead and win this game.
KB, I said this in August. Texas Tech was one of my teams that was going to do something, and they're doing it. So, of course, I'm picking Texas Tech Red Raiders. Bang, bang. I also saw something, KB. The guy that's funding this team played under Mike Leach, self-made oil baron. Dude, I do the same fucking thing. Just throw money at him. I got black gold. Fuck, we're going to buy a team, and we're going to get close to the Natty, if not win one. They're not my favorite to win the Natty, but they're one of my favorite teams to be kind of under the radar this year. Obviously, we all know they spent a bunch of money, but it's been working out. And Texas Tech has always been kind of fun to watch with how they spread the ball out. But like you said, the defense this year, what's that guy's name? Rodriguez, I think, on defense, that linebacker. He's an absolute dog, and he'll probably make some plays. And they put him in for fullback sometimes, too, or running back. So really cool to watch him play, and I got to go with Texas Tech all day here. Looking forward to this game. This is a fun matchup, KB. Hopefully it's a good uniform game like red versus green or something, but really looking forward to it. But give me Texas Tech. Both of us picking the same teams so far. Any other thoughts before we jump to the next one? I think you're muted.
Sorry. You did talk about uniforms. Oregon is wearing their whites, but with their, I believe, black helmets and their gray pants, so they're full mismatch.
They don't usually do that.
It's an awful look. I don't know why they don't like their school colors of the green and yellow, but we'll rock with it. So I assume Texas Tech is going to be rocking their blacks most likely.
Got it. Could be a good uniform game. Next one, KB, the granddaddy of them all, they say. Bama is playing Indiana in the Rose Bowl out in Pasadena. Spread is -7. Indiana's a team of destiny this year, KB. I have them winning the whole thing. I love the makeup of this team. Mendoza, the defensive line. They run the ball. They spread it out to the really good receivers. Surratt. I'm blanking the other guy who made the really good catch against Penn State. Cooper. They have like 3 running backs with Hemby and a couple other guys, Black. Signetti is just a great coach, great personality. I like DeBoer and I like Bama, but I'm kind of over Bama. So give me Indiana. Give me this team that is JMU mixed up with a bunch of guys that Signetti has brought together, and they are no ball and they play good ball. I think this could be a fun game. Too many teams have red color, KB, as you said before. But give me Indiana, give me the Hoosiers. Hopefully this is a fun game, but I kind of want Indiana. They like to run it up a little bit. I kind of want them to do that against Alabama here. We'll see. I think it's a pretty evenly matched game, a close game, but I would really love Signetti and the boys to kind of put them in the dirt. Hoosiers.
Yeah, the Rose Bowl is the battle of the Reds. Chris, like we talked about, 5 of the teams, five of them are primary red schools. 6 of them have red in their jerseys, so just too many. But I do hope that the staff at the Rose Bowl don't mix up the shades of red, because it has to be pretty nerve-wracking. Like most years, it's pretty distinct for all the hashes and the end zones and stuff. This year is like, you might be one shade off, man. Don't mix up the colors. No, but I agree with everything you said. I think point blank, Alabama just isn't good enough in the trenches. And I know it sounds absolutely bananas, but they do not run the ball well. They're very bad at running the ball. Now they're heavy, they're fat. I'd call them. They're big, but they don't really push anyone. They don't grind out yards in the run game, and it's really hard to be productive when you're passing this much, especially against this team who we've seen dominate at the point of the attack, setting up pass rush. And getting after. We saw it in the Ohio State game. We saw it in the Oregon game. I don't see how Ty Simpson, who is in the worse athletes than I would say both Moore and Sayin, or at least around Sayin, how he's going to be able to escape and make the plays he wants. I don't see how they're going to be able to alleviate the pressure that they're going to be able to apply on this Alabama team. And then secondarily, Indiana runs a lot of the RPOs, a lot of the misdirections. I obviously. Mendoza isn't the runner that Tommy Castellanos is. But just the influence that they can have on those linebackers to get them shifting, and we saw them get gashed in the run game. And we've seen them get taken advantage of if they've had to be manned up on sometimes on the outside. We saw them get absolutely dominated by Georgia, start to finish in that game. So I'm taking Indiana here. I think, DeBoer, I think he has a ways to go, especially on that O-line, which is really shocking because if you remember correctly, the year Michigan beat Washington, that Washington offensive line won the Joe Moore Award for best offensive line in the country. But then they went and played Michigan in the national championship, and they got absolutely hooved around. So it's going to be interesting. They do a lot of pass blocking. They get obvious passing downs. I think that's just a really dangerous place to live against Indiana. Maybe some turnovers, maybe some pressure applied. But again, they've played a game recently. How fresh is Indiana going to look? I know Sig is a really, really good coach, but they, last year in both, in the big-time games against Ohio State and Notre Dame, they shrunk. They didn't look as prepared. They didn't look as ready. This is another opportunity for Indiana to answer the bell. And if you would have told me that Indiana and Alabama a couple years ago were playing for a chance to play in the college football semifinals, right?
Yes, this is quarters.
Quarters.
This is the quarters.
Sorry.
We're going to semi.
Yeah. So with an opportunity to go to the semifinals, I'd be like, you're lying, man. You stop it. But, they really do. And that's absolutely crazy to think about what Sig's been able to do there. I think that they're going to meet the mark. They're going to rise to the opportunity and win this football game.
We're agreeing a lot, KB. I'm okay with it, but still, it's kind of weird. Next one, the last one, it's the All-State Sugar Bowl. So this is going to have a lot of fans. It's not far travel for these teams. Ole Miss, Georgia. Obviously, SEC matchup. 6.5 is a spread for Georgia. I'm an Ole Miss guy right now. I have been all Ole Miss since Kiffin left. I still think that's the wrong decision. You've heard me rant and rave about that. I'm going to go Ole Miss. I love Trinidad. He's looked really good. They played a really close game early in the season. I believe KB 43-35 or something like that, with Georgia out on top. So this Ole Miss team can score against Georgia. Kirby Smart also can get his guys going, and obviously he can be a defensive genius and maybe shut down this Ole Miss offense. Obviously, a lot of moving pieces with Ole Miss, with the new coach and all that stuff, but a lot of outside noise. But I feel like the way they played against Tulane was a great way to kind of shake that off and focus on these games. It's hard to beat a team twice. Let's be honest. It's hard to beat a team one time in a season. So Georgia's got to do it again. I think this could be a great SEC game, KB. I just want to roll with Ole Miss. I like the story. I like Trinidad. He's a local GR kid. You don't hear that a lot. Transferred from Ferris State, trying to get another year of eligibility. And I just like this Ole Miss team. I like what they stand for. I like the fans giving Kiffin shit for leaving, which obviously we all would. And I just think this would be a great game, though. It could come down to a field goal or a touchdown, maybe a one-possession game. Hopefully not as high scoring, knowing that they've had some time to scout and whatnot, but could be another shootout, 42-35, 38-35, something like that. But give me Ole Miss, give me the Rebels. Hopefully they're wearing fun fact, the first game they wore the Navies. Lane Kiffin did not like those jerseys, so they never wore them. So I'm curious if they do something like that again. Obviously, they're going to be the road team, I think, per se, but they got to do some powder blues or something because they look really clean. But give me Ole Miss. This would be a classic game, I think, KB.
Yeah, I'm going to take Georgia in this game. I just think that, Tulane's Tulane, man. They were way better than them. They out-physicaled them at every point in the game. And still, there was opportunities. Tulane had 3 turnovers inside the red zone that came up to, 3 opportunities in the red zone that came up to 3 points. I think that red zone issues has been a problem for Georgia. I mean, I think we know about that. They haven't been able to just kind of rock the ball away, put the ball in someone's stomach, and go at it as they had in previous years. But I just think that this Ole Miss defense with the this Ole Miss defense with the D coordinator having to take over full coaching responsibilities in the middle of the season is just going to be a lot, and it already wasn't a great defense by anybody's standards. Mm-hmm. And I think Georgia is going to have a huge game. I think they're going to be able to keep the ball away from this really explosive offense and limit opportunities, and I think that they win this game.
Yeah, I'm curious to see who runs the ball better because I know Ole Miss has that good running back. Georgia's been kind of hit or miss with running the ball. They figured it out when they need to, but we'll have to see because it's just an interesting matchup, all things considered. K'Wan Lacey is that guy, and then the running back.
Lacey, yeah.
Who's running back for Georgia?
They have a couple that they've
Nate Frazier.
driven out. Yeah, Lacey. Yeah, Lacey's really good. It'll be interesting to see what he does in the portal whenever that time comes, whenever the season's over, because he is a highly touted guy that's been really impressive in the backfield for Ole Miss this year.
And look at the stats for the first game they played, KB. Georgia as a team ran the ball for 221, while Ole Miss ran for 88. They had 4 rushing touchdowns compared to 4 passing touchdowns for Georgia. So very interesting matchup, all things considered. Both teams can move the ball against each other, and we'll see how things go the second time around. It's always interesting when teams play each other twice. So we'll have to see that. This is kind of my favorite matchup of this round in the quarterfinal, along with Indiana and Bama. But any other thoughts about college football, KB, the bowl season, before we head into the new year and break down and recap these games in a couple days?
No, I'm excited for it. I probably won't be able to watch much of the Michigan game. I do have to work New Year's Eve. Hopefully I'll be able to get out early, but the game starts at 1 p.m. my time out here, so I will be able to watch the national quarterfinal game, which I'm excited about, of Ohio State and Miami. And that's actually right down the road from me, so hopefully I can avoid all that mess in the Glendale area. But excited for the games. I mean, this is the best time of the year, like we've talked about a bunch of times, Quist, and I'm just excited to watch another season, watch how this plays out. If there's blowouts, guys, and people are going to keep talking about it. People are going to keep harping on the group of 5 and everything like that, or group of 6, whatever you want to say, but there are blowouts in college football. It's inherent to the sport, especially when teams get a bunch of weeks to prepare. It is inherent to the sport. Stop talking about it. This isn't the NFL. Oh wait, last year the Lions, number 1 seed in the playoffs, turn the ball over 6 times and get blown out. It happens, guys. It's football. You can have extremely negatives and there's only 1 game played. It's not like a baseball series. No one cares if someone wins one game in a baseball series 10-0 if they lose the series. You just stop focusing on individual results. It is driving me crazy everywhere on social media. But again, excited for the games, Quest. Who do you think is going to be give me a player of the weekend that you think is going to take over one of these games, offensively or defensively? I'll go first. I think Arvell Reese, linebacker for Ohio State, who's been really, really good this year. If people in the national sphere haven't been able to watch him, he is an absolute dominant. He's absolutely terrific.
I want to go.
He is an absolute freak, and he's just gonna. I think he's gonna dominate that matchup. He's gonna have Carson Beck, I believe, running for his life, and he's gonna have a bunch of run stops.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about him. I want to say. Kind of want to go receiver, so I was thinking Surratt or Smith, but I'm going to go Trinidad Chambliss. Just going to go with the homer pick. I want Ole Miss to win. He had decent yards as I was just looking last game against Georgia, so give me Chambliss to step up. Last time against Georgia, he had 263 with a touchdown, and he ran for 42 and 2 more touchdowns. So love to see him maybe hit 300 yards passing and beat this Georgia team. But, I would love to see Surratt or Smith also take over the game. Just want a receiver to have a game like Smith did last year in the playoff, because it's kind of cool to see that. But we'll have to see, KB. It's a fair question. On defense, I like Rodriguez. That's an easy pick as well for Texas Tech. That's all I got, though. Looking forward, KB. Looking forward to watch these games, KB. Great time, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. A lot of college football. Not too long ago, Michigan State was around playing these games. So hopefully we'll be back soon. Thank you guys as always. Basketball and hockey won today, so that's kind of cool on Michigan State side. I know Michigan destroyed McNeese State when I saw the box score last year by like 50. So it's a good time for sports overall. Thank you guys as always, and Happy New Year, which is crazy to say. And as always, go green.
Yeah, it's always fun when this podcast takes us, from the beginning of the holiday break, the kind of first fall holiday, right around the start of the season and Labor Day, and then takes us to the New Year's, Eve. So hope everyone has a terrific New Year's holiday. Please stay safe out there. Please don't drink and drive. Please keep the road safe. Appreciate everyone for continuing to listen. Go Blue.